As I was on my way home yesterday after the show, we thought we knew what was happening. You know, it was post midterms. Trump had a press conference in which, could you call that a press conference, or was that more just like a temper tantrum for an hour and a half? Uh, he had a show. I'm going to call it a show in front of some reporters and on television yesterday. It was like I didn't get my nap, and I'm cranky, and I'm gonna
That's the best word I've heard describe his mentality, his attitude overall
yeah
yesterday during
cranky.
that was cranky.
Oh, he was so cranky. He really, it's like someone just needed to give him his pacifier and his blankie and let him take a little nap because he was just cranky. You know how they get when they're tired. He was out of control. He was literally out of control. There was nobody that went unpunished in that event. I can't even call it a press conference because it was so not. Um, uh, for example, Trump was asked if, and by the way, the funny thing is, this was supposed to be, it was billed to the public as if it was going to be a victory lap press conference, and he was going to take the podium and talk about how amazing the Republicans did in the midterms, winning extra seats in the Senate, yada yada, and how great he did, and that it was all because of him campaigning with the Republicans and they won, and yada yada. That part lasted maybe 5 minutes, maybe. And then the crank set in. And so when the reporter started asking questions, one of them asked, about his earlier threat to retaliate essentially on House Democrats if they chose to investigate him. Here's what he said.
They can play that game, but we can play it better because we have a thing called the United States Senate. If they do that, then it's just all it is a warlike posture.
Remember the day before when he said, I wish I could change my tone. That's the one regret I have about this presidency, my tone. But one day later, I'm using the word warlike to discuss the House Oversight Committee doing the job that they were tasked to do by the Constitution. So, also, I like that he has a weapon, called the Senate in his arsenal. What? All right, that was actually kind of nothing because it went on from there, and we didn't even pull clips today of this because his attack on the press was outrageous. We're going to get to that and break it down a little bit, but he also attacked Republicans, which was really odd. He attacked the Republicans that didn't win.
In the House, Republicans dramatically outperformed historical precedents and overcame a historic number of retirements. In Jeff Flake's case, it's me, pure and simple. I retired him. I'm very proud of it. I did the country a great service. You had some that decided to, let's stay away. They did very poorly. Carlos Cubella, Mike Kaufman, Mia Love gave me no love. And she lost. Too bad. Sorry about that, Mia.
Bye, Felicia. Like, what? I mean, where is the man's pacifier and blankie? Somebody get that man a bottle of warm milk because holy cannoli. What in the world? Have you ever heard a president mock the members of his own party who didn't get reelected because he's mad that they tried to have him stay away from their final push to get reelected? I'm I'm a talk radio host, but I'm kind of speechless.
So, taking this back to, I know we've referred to politics as sports a lot recently. This kind of reminds me, it was a couple years ago. I think it was the Giants, and the quarterback, Manning, was having some trouble, and the game went very poorly. And after the game, one of his receivers just put him and the rest of the team on blast. Just, he's not good, and the offensive line can't block anybody. And watching that is kind of the reaction that I had to this is like, hang on, man. Those are your guys. Like, yeah. After this, you have to go back out there with them on your team.
Yeah.
Is this a good idea?
Right. Yeah, well, I guess Trump figures he doesn't really have to go back out to with these people because they already lost their seats. He didn't even have the decency to pronounce Curbello's name right. Called him Cubella. That's not his name. Representative Ryan Costello, who is a Republican from Pennsylvania, had some comments about what the president said.
Those members lost because the president's unfavorability in those districts was so sky high that it was impossible to differentiate yourself from him. So he's just not correct with what he says. I also think it's a little bit embarrassing to have a Republican president attack Republican members of Congress who really have been the offensive line. To have the president say that about some of my colleagues is, I think, very disrespectful.
A little embarrassing. You know, there was that hot air balloon of baby Trump in a diaper. So accurate. I mean, so accurate. Your mother. No, your mother. You did it. I mean, he is a child in the way that he fights back. And if that wasn't evident in the comments he made about his own party, what he did with the press yesterday, can I say it this way, was unprecedented. It was unpresidential. It was unprecedented, and it was wrong on so many levels. And like I said, I started to say this earlier, we didn't pull a clip of the debate, can you call it that? The argument he had with CNN's Jim Acosta, but that was incredibly testy, that whole exchange. And you do have that one, Nick? You're making a face like I have it. Do we have it? Okay, let's play it.
In the midterms,
Here we go.
If you don't mind, Mr. President, that this caravan was an invasion. As you know, Mr. President,
I consider it to be an invasion.
As you know, Mr. President, the caravan was not an invasion. It's a group of migrants moving up from Central America towards the border with the U.S.
Thank you for telling me that. I appreciate it.
Why did you characterize it as such?
Because I consider it an invasion. You and I have a difference of opinion.
But do you think that you demonized immigrants
in
this election
to
try to keep them?
I want them to come into the country, but they have to come in legally. You know, they have to come in, Jim, through a process. I want it to be a process, and I want people to come in, and we need the people.
Your campaign.
Wait. You know why we need the people, don't you? Because we have hundreds of companies moving in. We need the people.
But your campaign had an ad showing migrants climbing over walls and so on.
That's true. But they weren't actors.
They're not going to be doing that.
They weren't actors. Well, no, it's true. Do you think they were actors? They weren't actors. They didn't come from Hollywood. Right. These were people. This was an actual, it happened a few days ago. And
they're hundreds of miles away, though. They're hundreds and hundreds of miles away. That's not an invasion.
Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
All right.
And if you did it well, your ratings would be much better.
If I may ask one other question, Mr. President, if I may ask one other question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President,
that's enough.
I was going to ask one other.
That's just the beginning. Then an intern comes and tries to take the microphone away from Jim Acosta, and Jim Acosta doesn't touch her. And you can see the video, and I played it over and over again just to make 100% sure. He's got his hands up. He's gesturing with one hand, holding the mic with the other. This young girl intern, reaches across him to take the mic. She goes at him physically to pull the mic from his hand, and he sort of just pulls the mic back and turns a little bit away from her and is continuing to gesture with his other hand, and his forearm sort of touches her arm, and that was the extent of their physical contact. And then she sits down, and he continues. His press credentials have been revoked by the White House, and Sarah Sanders has gone on record accusing him of putting his hands on the intern, which is a flat-out lie. You can see it for yourself. This is the kind of crazy